So I guess one thing I wanted to just say is that note that speech recognition didn't fail, actually, except from the Riggy one. So, and that's real. I can, if you want, show it that it can fail. But then believe that speech recognition works. Yes.
So thank you for the demos. They were super cool. But my customers are B2B. And in the office, it's still kind of uncool to talk to your laptop. So I was hoping that maybe you could say a little bit about the future of type search and where do you see kind of in the office, on desktop, on laptop, where that type of search is going. Will it be sort of the same conversational way?
So, so conversation makes much less sense for desktop. The reason is because when you type something, for example, if I type restaurants in San Francisco, and then I want Italian, the search is already on the box. So the easiest way for me is actually to just go and append Italian on the text box. So that's the interaction is actually different. And so many of the contextual type of examples, of course, don't necessarily apply there. And as a matter of fact, we actually don't do those contextual rewrites for typed rewrites because we don't see people trying them and because it's actually easier to not try them. But in terms of capabilities of answering and getting things done, I think this is the same. The engine behind is all the same. So, if you also try on desktop, you will see more things are being answered. You can also get things done there. We have to be better than what we are now for what next things can you do. So maybe in the case of, we actually are playing in some cases, for example, in local results, you see lots of those filters, which you can, after you say restaurants, you can say cheap, expensive, or the type of restaurant. So there's a different way of interaction, but in terms of answering capability, and I think it's the same. So
another question from someone completely far away from me. I'll get to you, Jonah. Anybody else over here before I walk over that direction over there?
There's one person there.
Yes. Okay.
So you started with the example of the background search. Is Google looking to connect with any of the web applications that are running background searches on people right now?
Sorry, what is a background search?
So somebody could go to something like Spokeo and Tellius and ask, run a background search on Jeff Smith. Is Google looking to connect and provide that answer anytime soon?
I'm sorry, I'm not 100%.
There are services that provide personal information about people, usually by looking up public records or what they can scrape off the web.
Yeah, I'm not aware of we're doing anything in that direction.
My guess is that you guys want to. Oh my God.
Sorry,
I can't get
if
to
I
Jonah.
missed your question, please offline ask the question again. But we don't do background search.
My understanding
we do search on web pages.
My understanding is maybe you could talk more broadly about app integration in general, because right now you have still, I think it's less than 100 apps that you're integrated with. But is the plan to have more and more apps opened up?
Yeah, obviously I think we definitely want more apps to be doing app indexing, and so that both you can send users directly to the deep links on those pages where they want to go, but also like in experiences like now on Tap, you really know that the best experience is again another app, is not a search. You don't want to go to search and then again to go to another app. So yes, I think apps is going to be more and more integrated, definitely. And if you have not done things like app indexing, you definitely should do.
So can you talk about the success rate for users on voice search versus desktop and how you measure that success?
So it's a hard question to just give more or less because the types of the searches are different. On desktop, you can go and search for more researchy type of queries, so that the types of queries are actually less for voice search. And so in that sense, basically, you have easier life, despite the fact that it's more natural language. But in terms of still voice recognition, we'll also give another types of errors. So I think it's really hard to say. In desktop, whatever you type, you get the hits that you want. In speech, you can have voice recognition error. So in that sense, there is some maybe 10% or 8% extra error in that way. But the types of questions are different.
Hello?
Yeah.
I noticed that you showed a lot of like the Google phone up there, but a lot of us and our customers also have Apple phones and products. And I do use Google now. I love it, especially how it makes me get rid of tabs after 2 days. It's great. But how are you going to continue expanding that into other apps on our iPhone? Because I noticed that you had a lot of the events on your upcoming events, but I don't add those things to my calendar because I don't want to be overblown. But it'd be nice if that was integrated into my Apple Mail and it could just pull that stuff out so it could be a card that's created.
Yeah. No, we totally agree. And I think, first of all, Apple phones are good phones. So you're totally, it's a totally good decision to have Apple phones. And I think we definitely would like to reach all the users. So with many of the things which I showed, I would say maybe 80% of the things I showed works actually today on your Apple phone. All the contextual aspects, all the voice search. And the parts which becomes a little bit more trickier is all the app integration. But that's how the ecosystem is there today. But if things changes, I think these are technology-wise it's possible to go there. So we definitely would like to have all this working on Apple phones. And the Google Search app is basically trying to integrate with more of the Google type of thing. So I think you should be able to say things like related to calendar. You actually should be able to say it already on Google app on iPhone. Things like now on Tap you don't have, of course, but because that's a much deeper integration with the system itself.